Trapped by the belief that I'm not good enough, bound by the limitations and the lies that consumed my world, this was me. It wasn't until I took the biggest leap in my life to know and trust the power within. And it was at that moment I made a choice. My past will not define me anymore. Hello, I am Teri, and I know I am not alone in this. Over the years, I have found that the number one mistake that we make is that we get in the way of our own success story. Yes, I said it. On this show, together we'll tackle limiting beliefs, self-sabotage, getting stuck, fear, doubt, overwhelm, and the imposter syndrome. Join us on this journey designed to transport you beyond your limitations to a world where anything is possible. This is Talking with Teri. Hello, and welcome back to Talking with Teri, where we have powerful conversations to transform your life and your business. And our guest today will have you leaning in, leaving you wanting more, okay? Our guest, Gabriela Gjurekovec.
Gjurekovec.
All right, we're going with it.
Gabriela, just say Gabriela.
There we go. We are here with Gabriela. And for everyone who has not met her, oh my goodness, you are in for a treat today. With over 15 years of photography experience, she is deeply passionate about creating beautiful business-changing portraits that highlight her clients' talents, personalities, and inner beauty. She's combined her freelance photojournalism background with her architectural education to capture stunning images that showcase her clients' true essence. I'm talking about powerful stuff here, and she also does custom branding sessions. Gabriela, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm very honored to have this opportunity to meet you online.
Of course. Okay, so tell us, for people who have not fell in love with you yet, tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to be, here in actually Colorado.
Well, the journey let's start in 1999. My journey starts when I left Serbia for my Yugoslavia. Due to unfortunate events, I had to relocate, and I found myself in Montreal, Canada, where my biggest journey started. Yeah. And here I had to use some of my tools and skills that I had, that I was fortunate enough to build in my own country, Serbia, and apply those survival skills as a young woman in a world. It was not easy, but I was also fortunate through that journey to meet some very powerful women who helped me overcome and fine-tune the business journey and bring me to this point where I'm at now.
Well, and I'll tell you, like, that is no small journey, moving from one country to another country and yet to another country, right? And learning the different cultures and expectations and just overall, a way of being, right? So correct. Would you say that that's been kind of your greatest challenge to overcome, or has there been other things in your life that, what's been your biggest how have you overcome your biggest challenge?
Great question. Well, there's several challenges and hoops and loops that you have to go through. I mean, I can say combined all of them together, there's several of them, but I cannot not mention, first of all, being a young girl, lady, 22 years old. It's not easy to find yourself in a foreign country with a foreign, like you mentioned, with a foreign culture and language. First was the language. Okay, let's start there. Young girl, language, not knowing anybody. It was a challenge to build connections.
I can't even imagine. Like, I really cannot imagine. I've mentioned this on here before, that I've really struggled with my own language, let alone another language, right? And so I mean, what a massive barrier that must have been, and coming to a place. And honestly, the reason, if I understood your story from previous conversations, the reason why you left was because of the war that broke out in Serbia, and women and children could leave the country. And so it was not on, I think you were telling us that, there were bombs going off while you were boarding the plane to leave that country and leave your family, for good. Like,
Yes.
I mean, just trauma. That was, I can't even imagine the trauma that must have been like to go through.
It's difficult. Yeah, it is. I cannot deny that. It was difficult to watch your country be bombed and not being able to do anything. And of course, then you feel how vulnerable you are and how small you are and hopeless. It was a very difficult moment to overcome. But knowing that if you remove yourself from the situation and allow the friends and family who decide to stay, who decided or who had to stay, if that would be apparent, it was a difficult moment for them. It was a burden for them, for me to stay there. So I had to make that leap of faith that brought me to Canada, and afterwards my journey brought me here to Denver, Colorado. So yes, it was difficult.
What was during that time, like, did you find yourself ever, if you look back at that time, was there anything that you were telling yourself at that time just to keep moving forward?
Absolutely. I mean, there is no time to think about how unfortunate you are. There is no time to think, there is no going back. That's the point. When you start moving forward, the only thing that kept me going was I was having a goal to achieve something in order to be able to help back home. My friends, my family who are left behind. And that was my success. That was the only thing that it was on my mind, because my success would help them on the long run.
Yeah. Well, talk about the motivation, the drive, right? And the pressure. I mean, that's a lot of pressure, to be, quote, successful, and however we define and however you define success at that time. But there's a lot of pressure for a young 22-year-old coming to a new country, not having the language, not having the culture, not having the background, the experience, the knowledge around, there's, anytime we move somewhere or anytime we learn something, there's a vocabulary that's associated with it, right? And not even having the vocabulary of, what this is pretty remarkable. So, I mean, what a success story that you are. But I think it's, whether we apply this to, an international move or, a challenge that we face in our business or in our life, I think there's something to be said about who you are at your core being, that refuse to give up, that refuse to play the victim role, to refuse to, roll over and be like, I can't do this, right? I mean, there was some burning fire within you. And I think that burning fire is still within you, that continues to create great and continues to, push the envelope and try and experience new things, right?
Absolutely.
And right now, and so you became this incredible photographer. And if you guys have not checked out her website, please do so. It's GabrielaPhotography.com. Is that correct?
GabrielaPhoto.com.
Oh, Gabriela Photo. Okay, let me just say that again, GabrielaPhoto.com. And we'll put that down in the show notes as well. But I love the fact that you've combined your architectural background, with your, branding and just kind of, I mean, I just think of like creativity, like combining this all with creativity. And what was the driving factor that took you into the photography world, given your background and what you had to overcome to get here?
Well, it started actually in my young age. The photography, I was exposed to photography at my young age. My dad was a semi-professional photographer. So of course I was tagging along, and I just grew to like it. At the time, that was a film photography. And then when I went to the high school, of course, they needed a high school photographer. Guess what? I was the one who was always the one who's jumping into the picture to help out, because it was timed photography, am I right, with my schoolmates and all the school photography that was needed at the time. So And plus I had an opportunity to work for my local newspapers. So that kind of combined with my portraits and the neighborhood, the architecture, or whatever it was needed for the reporting standpoint, they actually, that helped me develop a little bit more understanding how to do the photography and to pay attention on the key details that are necessary to tell the story. And later on, as my journey was going on, as I said, as I relocated, I had to find myself. I was originally studying to become an architect. That dream kind of got halted several times. So after 3 times of trying to get going in that field, it did not work out. But I think my journey, my life journey had a different path for me, because it exposed me. What happened, I was fast forward 2008, I was sitting in my new home with my husband and talking to my realtor about how I lost my job. I was working for structural engineering company, studying in Red Rocks Community College. And she was mentioning that she needed a real estate photographer and that she wanted to rebrand herself. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to her. And that was, I think, that my aha moment, when I kind of was present in a moment. Before that, I have to admit, I was in survival mode and I was just plowing through my life and getting to the certain point to find myself. But that was the tipping point for me in 2008 when we just bought the house. The economy crashed. Everybody knows that. And I lost a job, and and I was struggling how we're going to pay our bills. And keep the house. And when she mentioned what her struggles, I immediately, I don't know what got me. And I'm like, I can help you with this. I can help you with your rebranding. I can help you with your real estate photography. And she just looked at me and said, do you have a camera? I immediately, yes, I do. How much experience? Well, I do have experience. And I never thought about it. That was the moment that I questioned myself, why I never thought about going this route. But long story short, that was the moment when it presented itself, and I just jumped and I dived in.
Sometimes I think these moments, these divinely guided moments are here, and when we are ready to receive them, they show up. And maybe you weren't ready to receive it prior, and I will tell you, I've known so many people during that time, 2008, when the economy crashed. There was like this massive transformation, and people were getting downloads and insights, and just kind of like what we just recently went through in the 2020 pandemic, is that there was just all this like incredible like downloads. It's like, why are we doing what we're doing, and blah blah blah. And it's been really powerful to watch people during these times of crisis, if you want to say, really have kind of that wake up call to like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I think you were ready to hear it and you're ready to take it on. And I think that's brilliant. So you've been doing that for a really long time in addition to your branding, work that you've been doing with individuals. And I want to ask you this. This is a photography question, because I think that there's a lot of women out here who not necessarily refuse, or maybe it's just resist, okay? Refuse, resist, ignore, want to run from, hide from, really being seen behind a camera. I mean, has that been your experience when you're, taking like photos of folks? Is like, what is, is there any, maybe there's someone listening right now that says, gosh, I've been needing to get, headshots, or I've been needing to get a branding, session going, but I've just been scared. I've just been resistant. I don't want to. Is there anything any type of advice that you would give to a person? Because I think and you and I kind of speak very similar language in the sense that we're like, we're always kind of like, not maybe pushing people, but encouraging or shoving, or, whatever it might be. Just kidding.
But we are always encouraging people to be like, hey, like, it's your time to be seen. Like, your brilliance needs to be seen in this world.
Correct.
And getting comfortable with being seen in the world in any capacity, whether that's, on a podcast, or whether that's being on, Facebook Lives, or, behind the camera, or whatever that might be. Any tips or tricks that you've found over the time that could help support folks that maybe are just a little bit more resistant?
Great question. Well, I always base my advices based on my experiences,
Yeah.
I'm the first one who is very shy. It was very difficult for me to put myself in front of the camera. I always had that role in my head that I'm supposed to be behind the camera and I have to bring out the best in other people.
Yeah.
So sitting here today, it's a surreal moment. So I can say that I have to listen to my own advice that I'm giving to other people.
Yeah.
And one thing is that first, we have to learn not to overthink it. We have to allow the moment, we have to allow the person who we're engaging with to lead us to the moment. First, that would be, you need to build that trust with the person.
Yeah.
And that's very difficult, of course, when you just pick up a phone and Google a photographer, hey, I need this and that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I understand that. Me, in my personal experience, I know I allow myself allow yourself to introduce yourself to the photographer, allow yourself to tell a little bit what your desires are. So that person, whoever is on the receiving end, can understand what's where you want to go with it. So it's their job, and as a professional, it's our job is to lead you to that point.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant.
So my advice would be, as I said, make sure that you tell your story, be authentic. Also, you have to share with the photographer where you want to end up, because that will help you get what you're looking for. If you don't know, that's okay too. If you're not prepared, you just picked up a phone and said, I need to do this and I have no clue what to do. Tell them, be honest. I don't know. So
and I think that way, as a professional, you can guide them and say, okay, and you have the questions behind, say, okay, are you looking more for this or this or this? Because you're right. I've used multiple different photographers over the years for different purposes and different things. And, but every single person has been kind of a different reason. And I love now I love doing photo shoots, but before it was like, I was kind of like awkward, like the weird pose person, they're like, oh, let's do this. And like, put your head down on like, it was super awkward. Right. but over time now I'm like, okay, I can do this. Right. And it is a little bit of a dance that takes place, but I do think that if you have that conversation up front, it's a collaborative conversation that takes place so that we can be directed in that way. And sometimes, you and I are talking about doing a photo shoot together, and I'm like, I'm open. Like I'm ready to have fun. Like I told you, I was like, let's have fun. I'm inside or outside. I don't really care. Like, this is what I'm using them for. But I think that I said, like, hey, I need photos for, social media content. Like that's the purpose of, what we're doing. So lots of different, options and lots of different looks and lots of different details, right? Like,
it's all about details.
And so it's, but I think that that's what's, will the next few weeks when we do our photo shoot, allow us to be successful, because we're having this conversation of what's the intention of these pictures. Absolutely. After we're done with them, right? So
that's the.
But I love the thing that you just said about just being authentic, and I always say people, we are going to suck the first couple times we've done something. I don't know that I have not met the person, okay, and maybe they exist, and maybe it's one of you listeners out there that's just completely got it, but I have never met a person who has tried something new for the very first time and been uber successful with it. When we think about riding a bicycle for the first time, I mean, most of us fell off a few times, right? And some of us fell off a lot, right? Like it took us months to master it, and so I think that, giving ourselves permission to, this is going to sound horrible, giving ourselves permission to like not having it figured out and know and trust that when the photographer takes 500 pictures, we're going to find at least 5 that we like, right?
Absolutely.
I'm always surprised when sometimes with photo shoots, because they'll take like 500 pictures and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love 499 of these. Like, how is that possible? Like, right? Like, and even like my funny quirks and like my facial expressions sometimes, and they'll take pictures when I'm not ready. And I'm like, wow. And I mean, even them are like, great. I'm like, well, because that's who I am off quote camera. Right. And so, but I just think that it's, allowing yourself to not be perfect and trusting in that relationship with that photographer to deliver what it is that you desire, because that photographer wants to get paid. That the photographer they're going to put you in the best light that they possibly can. And so I think it does take us some time to prepare for ourselves. What are we wearing? What are we looking? How are we, what's the makeup we're going to be wearing? The look, what are the, 3, 4, 5 outfits that we're bringing? And, really that is the preparation that's required for us. And then the rest is like the easy part. So I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if I may add, yeah. I agree with you. The most through this journey, through this experience, I noticed one thing. Allow it that in the first 10, 15 minutes, it's not going to be good.
Yes.
That's just a warm up. Everything is a warm up. Usually, I always guarantee you're going to find at least 5 images that you love, but they always end up at the end, and that it never failed so far. Always the last part of the shoot, if we have a 90 minutes together, the last 30 minutes, it's fabulous and really goes easy. Just the point is, and as I feel every photographer should follow this, make the client trust you. We need to build this trust between each other. And at the end, it becomes a very easy breezy.
It becomes like a dance, right? Like it becomes like a dance. Like it's powerful. And I would agree with you that, yes, that's a great point as a reminder, is like the first few minutes is just warming up the camera, warming up you as the photographer, warming up the client as the subject, as the art piece. There is and it's so funny that you say that, because I always kind of like, the first outfit is not usually my favorite outfit, honestly. And I didn't even think about this, because I'm like, these are going to be like, I'm not going to probably pick one, or I'll probably pick one picture from these, but I probably won't spin. So I always start with my first outfit is like not my favorite. And I didn't even think about it. That's probably why I don't, because I'm like, I never actually, usually that's the one that's like, okay, we're warming up, blah, blah, blah.
That's
and then I have my awkward posing during that time. And then my awkward posing finally kind of starts to meld into something that's more decent,
That's correct. And as I said, and the point is, even if it's interesting that you said that, we always usually ask that you show up in your first outfit that you would like to use. And definitely, I agree with you. It always ends up being the least favorite one.
Yeah.
That's not the outfit that is the problem. I think it's that you are still not
warmed up. Totally warmed up.
ready.
Yeah.
The expression, different vibe. It's really the look,
I like to trust me. Like it's I love it. That's such a great point. So wear your favorite one. You second to last.
Yes, exactly.
I love
And
it.
exactly. Just the expectation, the only expectation I would say that the person should have when they come to the photo shoot, just come with the trust. That's all we are asking. Just trust the process.
Trust and have fun. Like be open. The
fun.
more that you are engaged, like I think the more willingness you are to have fun. Now, I always ask for my photographers. I always ask them to bring music, because because sometimes I want some dancing photos and stuff like that. Even though I've been told that my dancing is not probably the best, I don't care. But it is like, it brings like a sense of like fun. It just, I don't know, it just adds to it. It adds to the experience, so it's just fun. And I mean, it again, you want to be capturing this person at their best. And so if there's a certain type of music that really resonates with them, like,
absolutely,
bring
they should
that
always mention it. And that's in the questionnaire. Yes.
Bringing that in. Oh, I love it. So I could literally talk to you all day long. So where can people connect with you, reach out and schedule if they're looking for a branding or if they're a real estate agent and they're looking for someone to, take on and do some I think, I don't know, is it just called real estate photography or?
Yeah, it's a real estate.
Okay. Okay. I was like, I don't know what you call that. Where can they connect with you at?
I have two websites. One is dedicated for my real estate clients and architectural. They can find me at virtualtours.colorado.com. So one more time, virtualtourscolorado.com.
Perfect.
And that's for my real estate. And there's an online booking questionnaire and a link that they can send me an email with any questions, additional questions. The same thing is at my gabrielaphoto.com. They can go and send me a note, send me a question, or ask to book. The process is slightly different for the branding because we want to find the right time. I do have an online option that you can look up the availability, but it's a very simple process. Because I like to speak to my clients. I really like to pick up the phone, get to hear your voice. Then right now, thank you for Zoom and everything. Maybe we can, or FaceTime, we can always meet first, like one-on-one to get to know each other. I think this new era really allow us to not be so blindsided because there is much more to photography than just a voice.
Yes.
So it makes it easier for us to ask the question and to, like you said, to see what colors you like, what is your favorite music and everything. Yes, it does play a role because we're trying to create an environment that makes you feel that you fit in. I do not like my clients to feel out of the space. I do not like my clients to feel, I mean, there is a lot of insecurities. I mean, I'm the first one who has a lot of them. And, but the point is just to put them on a side for a moment and to allow us to shine the way we are and enjoy it.
I love it. I love it. So go check out her information. I will be adding those links to the show notes. So go and connect and just see what you guys can create together. Gabriela, this has been an absolute delight. Thank you so much for being the light that's shining and allowing other people to be seen behind the camera. What a gift. What a powerful story. What a powerful overcomer that you've been. And guess what? When people connect with you, they just fall in love with you and your story and what you've been able to create. And so thank you for just being you and, being willing to show up in this lifetime in this way as the brilliance that you are.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Teri.
I am so grateful that you joined me for this episode. If you've enjoyed this, then there's just one thing that I would like you to do. Click to subscribe and leave me a rating and review. As my way to thank you, let's connect for a free consultation. Just reach out to me at talkingwithteri, that's TERI.com, to book your time.